at Intas Pharmaceuticals. He led a team of 29,000 employees across 82 countries. Mr. Ajay Bhatt.
My philosophy has been my ability to contribute and make a value to business will only be if I understand business.
So the rise of remote and hybrid work environments has presented new challenges for HR leaders. Like with teams spread across multiple locations, how do you ensure strong connectivity and engagement among employees?
So I want my employee to experience what is a sense of purpose for which he and she would love to wake up each morning and come to work.
Hello everyone and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast by Directors Institute World Council of Directors. On this show, we sit down with business leaders, top executives and game changers to explore how leadership is evolving in today's world, one that's driven by rapid change, innovation and forward-thinking strategies. In the world of HR leadership, few can match the experience and depth of Mr. Ajay Bhatt. With over 3 decades of guiding some of the largest multinational corporations through transformative change, Mr. Bhatt has played a pivotal role in driving global HR strategy, talent development, and organizational growth. Until recently, he was serving as the president of global HR and corporate communications at Intas Pharmaceuticals. He led a team of 29,000 employees across 82 countries. Mr. Bhatt's leadership has had a lasting impact on ESG initiatives, corporate governance, and crisis management. And today we have the privilege of learning from his vast expertise. Mr. Bhatt, it is an honor to have you on the show with us today.
Thank you very much, and it's a pleasure and a privilege to be on the show. Thank you for your time. Really appreciate having a good conversation with you. Looking forward to it.
Likewise, sir. So to begin with, we love for you to share your career journey with us. Like, could you tell us about the path of how you landed to where you are today and some of the key moments that led you to your current role?
Sure. Yes, I would be very happy to share that. And my career journey has been very fulfilling, very enriching till now, until my current and last job, which I was doing as a president, global human resource for Intas across 85 countries. Uh, See, from a youth, I always had one liking and one thing to chase, that is to lead people to make an impact. In my young days, I was very much active in NCC National Cadet Corps. Then, with post my graduation, I went into human resources, and in human resources, I was lucky to land up into healthcare. Honestly, when I joined healthcare, I was not knowing when you get selected from campus, your whole focus at time is to get the first job, be the first one to get selected. So when I joined pharma, I was not knowing what is the impact of the pharma. But today I can say I made a very good choice getting into the right industry and the right career. In the career, I'm making impact to the people. I'm leading people to make an impact. And in the industry, this is the industry where we make impact on people's life. With every product we make or my colleagues make or they sell, whether it's my R&D colleague or a manufacturing colleague, we see a difference which we create for people to live healthier every day. So from that point of view, on the both sides, my career choice and my industry has been fantastic. Now you say how did you land up here? So it's been quite a journey, starting from as a management trainee in one company, and then my formative years of my career building were in a company called Sun Pharmaceutical Industries Limited, which is now the number one generic company. Was not there at that point of time. And one of the learning which I had at that point of time was that if you need to be a good leader in human resource or business, first and foremost, you need to understand business. And so when line or business is giving input, there is a reason and there's a way to get into it. So that's what was a valuable learning. Fast forward to a company called Abbott, where I served close to around 13 years, both in India and in global role in Basel. There's been a lot of initiatives which we have taken. Abbott, when I joined in 2005, was not a known company in India. Globally, yes. In India, we were somewhere at 35th rank, and then now it's number two, sorry. But that journey was quite interesting. Making it happen, transforming the culture, taking people along, resolving multitudes of business processes and people process issues, building a trust, building, uh, bringing in the three global companies, that is Abbott, Solvay, and Piramal together. So there has been an interesting journey. And then I came back to India in 2018 with this fantastic company Intas, and has been and was leading and was drawing this role of global HR head, which was very interesting. So from small Indian company to large Indian company to large global MNC to global roles and back to India in a global role, it has been a fantastic journey. I would say that I have been not only blessed, but I have been honored to have such kind of a career. Thank you very much. It was a fantastic question. Really set my mood for further discussions. Thank you.
And such a big learning that initially it helps to know everything in your field, the small nitty-gritty, so that when you go to the high levels, you know what's going on down there because
Correct.
it's very
Yes.
important.
Yes. Yes. And that's the way it has been, and that's the way it has happened in my life. I mean, at each point of time, whether I was looking after sales HR, manufacturing, R&D, then global HR, one of the most important criteria, or one of the most important the North Star for me, was to understand business. My philosophy has been my ability to contribute and make a value to business would only be if I understand business. If I do not understand business process, I do not have a right as a leader to guide people or lead people. So that's really helped me very much. Thank you.
So, one of your standard achievements is leading Intas Pharmaceuticals through a global HR strategy uniting 29,000 employees across 82 countries under the banner of One Intas. That's an extraordinary achievement. How did you manage to bring this diverse global workforce together, and what strategies did you implement to create a unified culture and ensure alignment across such varied geographies?
That's a fantastic question. Thank you. See, when I was hired for this role, the company didn't have this role, and this role was it was a new role. And when I met my fantastic promoters, all three of them, they hired me, went through a conversation, and then when I joined on my orientation days, I was trying to understand from them that what do you expect from me? I mean, of course, and as a global HR leader, you bring some of the basic core competences with you, experiences with you, and with that, you do get started. You start looking at talent, what is the talent pipeline, you start looking at what is my employee experience, you start looking at, so there are different areas which being a global leader, one usually starts looking into. So, and that is not a surprise, but for me, I was trying to understand what is the value my stakeholders want me to contribute to this organization, either with myself or to help with help of my colleagues and that was a very interesting question. And so I met each of them. But broadly, what I carried with me is that A, we want one Intas. B, uh, we don't want to load you with what is our bias. We want you to go and find out for yourself and then come and present to us what you think is the right thing to do because you are a professional. That was very empowering, actually, because uh, you are not being told what to do. You are being a lot of open white space to say, go find out for yourself and come back and figure it out and later, which was very motivating, but was very challenging also. But cutting short, I did talk to my colleagues, my business leaders, my colleagues, and over next 30, 60 days, formulated an HR strategy, and me and my team went back and presented to the board. Uh, the strategy was very simple, but it was resting on one, performance and productivity, two, processes. Performance and productivity is very important. We were one of the fastest growing company, uh, but if we had to move from a good to great, how do we ensure that we continue delivering the same profit and productivity to our stakeholders as we keep on scaling up? Second was very important was the processes. My processes in my organization were built for India, built for Europe, built for US, built for emerging markets, but they were not integrated. And so when you need to bring the organizations together, right from your demand process, supply process, planning process, or your manufacturing, optimizing your manufacturing or your development process, how do you look at your process when they become global? While becoming a global process, how do you ensure that while they are global, they are yet nimble? They do not become a bureaucratic process stopping the whole organization. So that was very interesting. The second part of the process. Now, in order to deliver this kind of innovative process, you need the capabilities. And so that's why we focus on capabilities in terms of looking about the right capabilities we have, how do we build, how do we bring in. So there's whole part of the talent engagement building part of the track which we have to cover. And the most important was the culture. While all this was happening, you cannot let go and lose sight of the culture. This organization is a thriving organization. It wanted to grow further. So we cannot throw out the good while we bring in the bad. Okay. So we had to look, throw out the good along with the bad. We kept on implementing each of these tracks. The first thing which we did very quickly was to implement a global system of records, bring in the global HR technology, ensuring that across all countries, all regions, everybody has access to all the talents. Worked on the process simplification, org structure development, restructuring, bringing a global management committee (GCMT), which became the governance committee over all these particular regions, all of the leaders working together, and then working on culture, which was one of the most important through communications, town halls, reward and recognition, and different other mechanisms where we amplify the culture and where we also reward and recognize the culture, where we created one Intasian belief and culture so that people stood together. And over last 5-6 years, Intas has been growing fantastic. It has now moved from number 14 position to number 5th position in India and globally. And it is one of the fastest growing MNC, launching a lot of new products, and also recognized on Great Place to Work in 2024. So that's been a really good success for the whole organization. And of course, it gave me a lot of learning, a lot of opportunity to learn from it. Thank you.
Yeah, working with so many people across the globe would have been a great experience.
Yes, it was fantastic because when you work across different geographies, uh, building a culture of trust, building a culture of respect, recognizing and bringing transparency, understanding each other, uh, respecting diversity. Those are things which has to be there as a leader. And when you start, and for me, it was good because I had already lived in Europe for 4 years. So my ability to then gel with that culture, different culture, and work with the Europeans, Americans, or the people from Brazil across different culture, understanding the nuances of their culture, and then working with them was much easier. That helped me to phrase terminology, which became very important for us to guide a lot of processes in Intas, not only HR but technical process. And the philosophy was what is core and what is unique. See, when we make it, over a period of time, making one was not one, and that's what we realized, and that's why we brought in whole of this principle of core and unique. So for Intas and Accord, which was a subsidiary organization, the core was the values, the behavior, the culture. The core was the integrity. The core was the science, the care. That was the core. The uniqueness was maybe the way to go to market in Europe was different than the way we are going to market in US. The way to go to market in India was different versus the way to go to market in Brazil. Because our disease profile, our customers, the way the channels, the regulatory requirements all were very different. And so we adapted our programs in this manner so that they were owned by each of the regions of the country and the business leaders. And this core and unique then became a big guiding principle, not only for HR, but also for many other business processes, because it helped us to navigate very fast and quickly without getting confused.
Yeah. So throughout your career, you've placed a strong emphasis on employee experience. In today's competitive business world, what do you believe organizations should prioritize to improve employee satisfaction and retention?
So, see, if you look at today's, and this must be at any point of time for any generation, but for many leaders, this is a very interesting time actually. Globally, the global forces are playing their own part. On a macro level, there's huge amount of political shift which is happening. Policies are getting changed, uh, whether it's in India or US or Europe. So there are a lot of external forces which are impacting even the smallest business in India, or even a smallest tiny shop in India. There's a way. B, if you look at the workforce, as of now, right now, you have workforce people are consisting of Gen X, people like me, Gen Y, Gen Z, Gen and Millennial, all together. So, and the leaders at different places have a huge amount of challenge, whether across diverse geographies, to deal with this four generations who have their requirement of employee experience different. And I was sharing this very recently with a colleague of mine. I said, when I was getting my offer, I was very happy to get the first offer. I didn't ask the gentleman who was giving me offer, what is my salary, how many number of days I'm going to work, whether I'll get a work off on Saturday or not, whether Sunday I'll have to work or not, what kind of travel I'll get, whether it's a AC bus, non-AC bus. Those are things which I didn't ask. And I hear today many of my colleagues, when they deal with Gen Z, Gen Y, and this whole HR fraternity who is jumping and crying about saying, oh, they are very demanding, they are asking this, they are asking that question. And I keep on sharing with them. I said, look, my context, your context was different. Their context is different. I think if we need to develop employee experiences for our people, we cannot have one shoe fit which will fit everybody. It's not possible. And that's where, again, I'm again emphasizing the concept of what is unique and what is core. I think as an organizational leaders, we need to focus on what are the core things I would like my employee to experience. One, I would like my employee to experience, and that's what I did with Intas. Sorry, I want my employee to experience what is a sense of purpose for which he and she would love to wake up each morning and come to the work. And as far as we are concerned, in our business, we were lucky because the sense of purpose was we were curing people. We are helping people to live a healthier life. If there's a cancer patient, we are number one in oncology. If there's a cancer patient, either we are curing him or maybe we are giving some more additional time, maybe 6 months, 9 months more to look after what the things he need to organize before he passes away, not suddenly. I know it's not a right way of saying, but at the end, with every life we touched, we are making an impact. And there was a sense of purpose, which was very core to Intas. Innovation was very core to Intas. We believe that at every day, every time when we come back to job, we need to do something so that we bring better products or better services to the patients who we are serving. So that was core. That is very helpful. Unique is if I am dealing with my talent who is a fresher in Germany, versus if I am dealing with a talent who's in India, in Sikkim, my value proposition, my way of working with him has to be quite different because they come from a different context. And I need to develop employee experiences which will cater to him and which will cater to this person. However, in that also there are a lot of things which are similar. For example, who does not like growing? Correct? Now, growth. How do I contribute to the employee's growth? How do I help him to develop? What setup? What are the process systems on talent development? Maybe it's setting up a 70-20-10 development program, career coaching, executive development program, exposure to different industries, exposure to different colleges. So we did a host of things on our talent development pipeline management. But conceptually, this is where we focused on in terms of employee experience. So be it technology, for example, we implemented the global technology across 85 countries. Right? The way HR tech was serving the employees of India manufacturing was not the same it was serving the employees of maybe my Staple plant manufacturing. It was quite different. Right? Core would be a system of record, data has to be same. We had to look at what are GDPR requirements, but we also had to look at practices which are. That's how I ensured, and my team ensured, that we set up employee experiences which are meaningful and which resonate with them and which they would love to experience rather than saying, oh, this is a policy implementation which they have to go by. So that's the way we did it across different parts of human resource and business.
So, the rise of remote and hybrid work environments has presented new challenges for HR leaders. Like with teams spread across multiple locations, how do you ensure strong connectivity and engagement among employees, especially when working in diverse geographies?
Yeah, so let me step back a little bit and then it will help me to set the context. So, yes, COVID was a great leveler. It opened eyes of many leaders who believed that they need to work at the workplace only. And overnight, uh, and I would say human beings are one of the fantastic specimen because their ability to adapt to the impossible is infinite. That's the way I look at it. And you see overnight, I mean, organization, company change their models, and you could see everybody working. Even in our case, we very strongly believe that our medical rep, the sales rep who meets the doctor, can never work from home. But here, after 2 months of sitting in home, our sales reps came back and said, "Sir, we understand you are worried about the safety, government, and everything, but sitting at home, we are unproductive. We'll vegetate. Cannot we do something? You guys are already on MST and you are talking to each other. You talk to us. Can you give us some tool by which we can engage the doctor?" And our technology team then ran up and created some tool which was with MST. But they started engaging doctors who had time virtually and started doing science conference, teaching conferences, exchanges with the doctors. Of course, uh, many of the doctors are not practicing that point of time, except some critical doctors. So there was no question of promoting products. But during those 6 to 9 months, our representatives and doctors and the whole medical fraternity community kept on having a lot of discussions about the product safety, even COVID. And the whole network was created where they also went to the extent of supporting patients who are in need. We created a global crisis management team looking after all 85 countries, where the objective was essentially to take care of our employees, which, being in pharma and healthcare, landed up into managing supply chain, because the supply chain at that point of time, if you know, had become very, very difficult. Suddenly there was a port which was getting closed. Suddenly there was a road getting closed. Suddenly some airline was getting diverted somewhere else. So all kind of things were happening which we couldn't see. So managing that. Now all that taught us one thing very, very clearly, that if we have to take our business and keep it successful in future, we need to keep on working with models which are scalable, adaptable, breakable, and reconfigurable. If we keep on saying this is the only way we work, it is not good. And that's what we have done. By now, at that point of time, we couldn't keep our manufacturing off because pharma products come through a specific machine in a controlled environment. I can't let my technician take the machine home से घर पे जाके tablet बनाना. It's not possible. But there also we've created team-wise. We created a bubble working conditions where the employees were literally brought from home to workplace in a sterile bubble, made to work or sent back. So there are different innovative practices which we created, and that has helped us to bring models of flexi working going forward. Uh, Along with this, so this is the physical part. Next is the culture or the mindset part. We realize that human being is a social animal. While everybody says, and it's happening with us today, then post-COVID, now the situation is many of our workforce do not want to work full-time from the home nor full-time from the office. So you have to create a flexi work culture. You have to create a work culture where you say, okay, fine, we are keeping hot desk. If you had a team meeting to be done, you want to bond, work together on a project, come in. There's a place. If you think you need to sit under a nice tree and think with your creative juices and don't need people around you, even in the office also there are corners where you can go, or you can work from home, or you can work from cafe. So I think where I'm coming from is that we as leaders and organizations will have to understand and keep on reimagining what can be the future like. Like COVID, we didn't know, correct? Something else is going to happen. But as I said, human beings are quite resilient and has got infinite capacity to come back. I very strongly believe in the power of human resource. power of human talent, human endeavor, and always strongly believe that with every new challenge, if the basic philosophy of trust, respect, safety, transparency is what leaders keep with them, they have a good governance, good ethical standards, good moral guidance, they would be able to lead their teams and their operation and the processes rightfully in the right direction.
True, sir. And COVID has changed so much, and we just need to understand what works. And the world, it's the rule of the world, right? Some COVID
Yes.
changed some things, 20 years later, something else might change, things like technology.
Yep.
So, yeah, keep updating yourself.
No, you're right. So while you're saying, we had come across a unique challenge. You remember the second wave, the lack of oxygen.
Yeah.
And okay, so hospitals everywhere, people are running to secure some little bit of oxygen what they can get. And we have somewhere close to around 9,000 employee workforce in Ahmedabad itself. We have a large manufacturing base. And somewhere around 7,000 across in India, and another 3,500 Europe. Uh, in Ahmedabad, one of the challenge we are facing, because in India in particular, there's no lack of oxygen, correct? The treatment modality was, we literally set up our own hospital. Uh, because we were in pharma manufacturing, we need oxygen to infuse in many of our products because we are into biologics. So we had a large oxygen tank. We donated one of them to the government hospital. From the second tank, we tapped a lot of oxygen bottles, brought into a training center which we had, and overnight converted the residential training center into a hospital. Got some doctors, some of our volunteers, and ensured that we have full oxygen supply and other medical supplies. And it was primarily for our employees and their families and friends. But then it became like anybody who walks in the industry and says, I need to get admitted, so come along. We have space to go. So point I'm making is that that period, you could see two things. People were very innovative and humanity was at its peak. I have seen people helping each other, right? Without any expectation, giving food to the neighbors, small things to large things, making donations which were of large value and numbers. And India, for example, became a vaccine supplier to the whole of the Asia. There are countries where we supplied vaccine where we have not taken money from them. And that's what I'm saying. That sometimes such kind of challenges pushes us to shine in our humanity, shine in our basic human principles, and that is what was a learning which COVID gave to us.
Yeah, very true. Okay, so now it's time for a very own rapid fire round. The only thing I request in this is we will have quick answers, one word or one sentence, first thing that comes to your mind. So, are we ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. It's very challenging. So let's see how do we do it.
Perfect. One word your team would use to describe you.
Compassionate achiever.
First job you ever had and what did it teach you?
It was a management training job. It taught me how to work at the shop floor.
One Indian dish that instantly brings you home.
Dal and rice.
One book or movie that's had a lasting impact on you.
There was a movie called Apollo 13. It's a movie about failure of a moon mission. But I like the movie because in that movie, failure was not an option. And that movie taught us how to ensure that you bring back your people safely home, how to ensure that you still achieve your mission. So that was a very good thing. Uh, there's a second movie I forgot, but it's a movie about African leader uh, who uses rugby as a game to change the culture of his country. At a point of time when Nelson Mandela was the first president after apartheid, the blacks were not liking the whites, and there was a huge amount of divide. And then there was a movie about how he used a rugby team to change the culture of how to bring people together. That was the second thing, second good movie which I like. I still watch it. There are many books, but one of the books which has stayed with me is the English translation of Bhagavad Gita, and I still go back to it at different point of time. I read different sections of it, and every time I read it, it gives me a different strength. It gives me a different liking. The one other thing which I like about it is that the sloka of karmane to adike. I mean, you keep doing your things. Don't look for, stay on your purpose. Don't look at, wait for results. They will come. They'll happen. And that's been my guiding light throughout my whole career, making things happen. And see, don't wait for the fruits of success. They definitely come by the way.
If you could give one piece of advice to your 30-year-old self, what would it be?
I would, so very honestly speaking, I don't have any regrets. I'm very happy. I would give only the same advice that if you have to live the life again, live it the same way. Be happy, be enjoy every moment, be in every moment, and don't bother about success or failure. That's the way I would
Yeah,
give the same advice. Thank you.
yeah. Lovely, sir. That gets us to the end of the rapid fire round. Thank you so much for that, sir.
Thank you very much. I really
Okay,
enjoyed this questions, even the rapid fire from you, and really appreciate your time.
lovely. Sir, our next question is that the Purdue Pharma McKinsey opioid crisis demonstrated how performance driven cultures, when unchecked, can lead to ethically questionable decisions even in respected organizations. Given your experience leading HR during major integrations and restructurings, how do you ensure that incentive structures and leadership KPIs don't inadvertently encourage risky behavior, particularly in high pressure environments?
That was a thank you very much. I really appreciate you asking the question because these are things which says the ethics in the organization. Uh, from a very early career, sorry, from not a early career, from my early life, thanks to my mother who was a teacher, uh, the virtue of being truthful, honest, has been always set in me. I'm not going into detail, but even in sports, there were times where I could have said that I have won this race, but I would have said no, the other guy was ahead of me by an inch, and he need to get. I didn't like it. Nobody likes not being first, but that is what she had taught me as values in a very early age. Coming to my career, I was lucky to work with good organizations like Abbott, like Sun Pharma, Sarabai Scripts, which taught that integrity is non-negotiable. Abbott in particular, we had a very strong integrity policy, and I can give a very good example. Early when I joined in 2005, uh, I used to have a lot of face-to-face town halls with my sales force, and one of the complaints my sales force used to talk to me about is that they were working in a multinational company wherein we were not allowing them to give any gifts, any leave behinds, any costly gifts and leave behinds, not taking the doctors for trips and other things which the Indian companies used to do. Uh, and because of that, they were not able to deliver their sales time. And so that was the complaint. Uh, Instead of trying to find some other solutions, uh, me and my Office of Ethics and Compliance, we partnered together and we created a program where we infused among our sales rep the pride of doing things in the right way. We said it's okay if you do not meet the target. We will not take any action on you, but we want you to meet the target in the most honest manner. The day you go back home in the evening, you should be proud that the prescription the doctor has written is on the basis of your relation, your capability, your knowledge, and the company's product, not on any other things. So I'm making it very short, but we had to run a whole huge culture. We had to design a culture intervention, run a culture intervention, link it with reward recognition, not in cash, but in kind of certificates, town halls, leaderboards, uh, ensuring that the right behavior got amplified, ensuring that the leaders walk the talk, ensuring each and every manager, each and every line manager also follow the same thing. So we ensure that if somebody was not meeting the target, we did not disincentivize it. We uh, we saw to it that the person, because typically people are sales guys are worried that if I don't meet my target, there's going to be a consequence. So that's what we did. That's one part of it. Later part in my career, I think in Abbott, even in Intas, there have been instances where we deal or we had to come across instances where we find that the actions taken by somebody were not as per the ethics. They may be possibly okay as per the practices of that particular region, industry, or whatsoever. But from standpoint of the values of the organization, they were not in agreement. And we one way was to naturally do the investigation, take actions. But the more important was to post that, share those findings with larger executive team first and foremost, through the executive team, a coaching session to the leaders, whether it was a harassment case or whether it was a ethics of brand promotion, whether it was ethics of regulatory requirement. We the last one which I was heavily involved with Intas was the culture transformation with McKinsey, where we were focusing on the culture transformation and manufacturing unit, ensuring that each and every data they generate is of genuine, good quality, on time, without and legitimate, without any errors, so that the regulators to whom we support are also having confidence in the products of the company. So there have been instances where working ethically, helping team members, helping colleagues, trying to influence colleagues on doing the things in the right manner, even when nobody is looking, has been very, very important to me personally. And that's what I keep on doing. And luckily, in the human resource professionals, as a leader, you are seen as one of the person who's supposed to keep the conscience of the organization alive. And I really loved that responsibility, and always very outspoken, and very supportive, challenging, whatever it needed to ensure that we do things in the right way.
Lovely, sir. So you recently joined Directors Institute, which has become a notable platform for senior executives. What motivated you to take this step, and how has your experience with the institute added value to your leadership journey?
Let me start with let me start answer your second part of the question first and go to the later. See, this program has added lot of knowledge and wisdom to me. I can look at it. I could have looked at it as one of the governance requirement to be a director. So go through the course, do the fill the multiple choice questions and get over it. But I took some time. I took around first 3 to 4 months reading. Then I started attending. Then I attended all your sessions of each of the great leaders, which are there. Invaluable insight by each of them. I mean, so that took time because each of them are talking a lot of things which are very personal to them and very, very insightful. And then 19, 20 of them in each of 40, 1 hour, 1.5 hour. So, and I was working that point of time, full around from 9 to 8 o'clock kind of job. So I took some time going through it, making my notes. I still have them. And then finally I gave the exam. But point I'm making is that the courseware is fantastic. If one takes it more as a learning rather than a requirement to pass the set and get the certificate. And that's what I enjoyed. And being at my role, which I am, if somebody is asking me about company law, I'm knowing. But the context of it, why as an independent director is what is your role and how you can add to the value in governance, how you can ensure the stakeholders' interests are protected, how can you create value to the stakeholders is what I learned from the institute learning. So that's thank you for asking that question. It's really fantastic. Now, why did I do it and what I'm looking forward to it? I have close to around 38 to 40 years of experience in healthcare, pharma, devices, diagnostics. I'm from human resource, but I came up from a background where I had to get into every business. So while in the first organization I did sales, then I stood on manufacturing lines. I cleared the products. Of course, I was not certified, but I was helping the line manager to clear the products. I have worked to set up a greenfield manufacturing site. I've set up R&D expansions. I've restructured R&D organizations. I have done a global merger of three large organizations. I went in a global level to set up a R&D, a consolidated R&D. I landed up of decentralizing it, completely different than what I signed for. Point I'm making is I have been very close to business. I like to solve business problems and people and leverage people talent. I believe very strongly every problem comes with a solution, and the solution to it is your right talent, right motivated engaged talent. And that is what I bring to table. And I think I'll be able to bring this value to many organizations, especially those organizations in healthcare, whether they're large organizations trying to solve complex problems, or whether they're startup who would like to accelerate faster, but not to make mistakes the big ones make. So, or the mid-sized company who are at mid-size but still aspiring to grow and wanting to put across their growth chart in place. So, from that point of view, there's great value I can contribute, having got so much of experience. In a way, I believe it will be a good give back to the industry from which I have learned so much, I have prospered so much, and so I think it's the best way of giving back whatever you learned. And in process, I'll also learn. I'm not saying that I'll remain static. It will be good learning opportunity.
No. Thank you so much for those kind words, sir. It's been an absolute pleasure having you with us today. Your insights into global HR leadership, organizational culture, and governance has been truly valuable. So, thank you so much for sharing your journey, sir.
Thank you very much. It was a pleasure.
To all our listeners, whether you're navigating your own leadership journey, managing teams, or preparing the next big challenge, we hope today's conversation has provided you with actionable insights and inspiration for your own path. This has been FaceTime with Leaders, powered by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. Until next time, stay future ready, keep leading with purpose, and of course, have fun in your journey. Thank you so much.